originally I bought the property because, you know, when I was a kid, I built forts, and when I saw a news article one time that had a special on former Atlas F sites and former military sites, and I just thought they were the neatest thing. And so if one ever became available at a reasonable price, I'd scarf it up, and I bought it because it's kind of the ultimate big guy fort. This site, along with most of the others that were operational, this was on high alert during the Cuban Missile Crisis. These were only operational for 2 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. They spent so much money.
Yeah, there's a funny reason too. They started construction on most of these between, you know, across the country between 1955 and 1958. Most of them were operational by between 58 and 1960, and most of them were defunct by 61 and a half or 62. Wow. And the reason was the Atlas F missile was designed not to be stored in a fueled state. And it was very delicate. The skin of the missile actually was the fuel tank. So in order to store one of these things, it was a delicate balance between keeping pressure inside the missile. If the pressure was released, the missile would collapse on itself. And so the fuel tank was a structural part of the missile. And but anyway, it took our systems something like 42 minutes to fuel the missile and launch it. And Russia developed missiles that could be stored in a fueled state, and their missiles could get here in 37 minutes. So with a difference of 5 minutes, that rendered all of our sites obsolete because we couldn't get a missile off the ground before the Russian missile would get here.
Come on down, watch your step.
The place is geothermal, so it's about 58 degrees year-round.
Oh, wow.
58 in the heat of summer and 58 in the dead of winter. These are the blast doors. Yeah. These two doors are still locked up right now. They don't move yet. We've done work on the bottom two sides. There's two more of these doors on the silo side, and we've worked on them and we've got them to swing free. We haven't worked on the lock mechanisms yet, but we've got them free swinging again. Okay, when we get into the square stairway here, that accesses the upper and lower levels of the command. It was called the LCC. That was the upper LCC and the lower LCC. The staircase here doesn't have a railing on it, so stay closer to the wall.
Okay.
This floor we've got the lights off in because we finished demoing this last year, so we're not doing any work up here right now. But this was the living level. But this was here, there was a kitchen and bathrooms, showers. There was sleeping quarters with bunks. There was a mess room and also a recreation room up here. Little laundry facility. And then air handling equipment. This was all fancy air filtration equipment at the time. There was nuclear biological filters in there. Also charcoal filters, that type of thing. This was the business end of things down here, and this is also the level that we haven't demoed yet. This is what we're going to tackle next week, and after next week, this level will look like the upper level. All this will be demoed and removed,
okay.
You know. But the interior of these spaces, although this is all concrete and steel here, the floor plans were built just like a regular house. This is all drywall and studs.
Oh, so it looked like an office. You're just underground.
Yeah. That's the original colors, institutional green, you know. When there was life in this place, there would have been a lot going on down here. This is originally where the launch console was, and that's the original box that held the launch codes. There was an outer door and an inner door. That's the inner door that's open. The outer door has been torn off, but there's not much else out there that could protect you the way this capsule could protect you. This capsule has layer upon layer upon layer of 1-inch thick rebar that's woven so tightly together that during construction you couldn't see light through it. The walls here are many, many feet thick. The ceiling is over 6 feet thick. This column, this concrete column holds the whole, reinforces the whole ceiling all the way through the capsule and back down to the floor. You know, again, if you were to dig down the soil above and dig down to the roof of this capsule, you could build a 20-story building on top of this capsule. You know, it's that strong. But when I bought the place, this door was closed, and we thought that the lock was partially engaged, and in reality what had happened was, I'll show you here. You can see how the door has the bow in it? The curve? The curved part of the door comes through the jamb here. So when this door is closed, this curved part is out about here. Rust had formed between the bottom of the door and this door jamb and just basically wedged it. We didn't know that at the time. We thought it was partially locked. So when I bought the place, we had to get this open. I put on fall protection gear and crawled out that hole into the silo and had to jump around to the other side and do a little bit of torch work. And then we came around here and bottle jacked it open. And as soon as it took about 2.5 hours of bottle jacking, and then once that edge cleared, it just popped open and swung free. The silo's empty now. It was salvaged out. There used to be levels in here, just like a 17-story building.
Oh, so they would just take stairs to the bottom, basically.
Right. And well, there was a stairway and a man elevator, and then there was also an elevator for the missile.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So how deep is the water? 6?
Right now, there's about, we'll put it this way, as much space as you see open here, there's that much more below that water.
So those are the overhead doors that we're standing on?
Yeah. And the spot in the center of each door is where one end of the hydraulic ram was that would open the doors, and this is where the other end of it anchored. And those hydraulic rams would push the doors open. Those are the original light fixtures up there for the top level. As far as the steel structure, that's all been salvaged out.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's pretty much just a bare tube now. The missile itself was only a fraction of the size of this silo. This is 172 feet. I think the missile itself was only 70 feet tall or something like that. And it was only, 8 or 10 feet in diameter. So the missile sat in the middle on its own elevator, and it was surrounded by a whole bunch of levels of equipment, generators, guidance systems, electronics, all kinds of stuff.